So maybe I already start with the introduction. Welcome to our Women Trailblazers Roundtable on entrepreneurship in an evolving aerospace ecosystem. I'm very happy that we could organize this on the occasion of the SEAS AIDA conference together with Women in Aerospace Europe. And I would like to welcome also my co-moderator, Maria Antonietta Perino. And I organized this together with Luisella Giulichi, who is president of Women in Aerospace Europe, but she couldn't make it due to some additional work in the aftermath of the ESA Ministerial Council. So I'm very happy that Maria Antonietta could jump in. And to replace her on the panel, we are very proud to have Amalia Ercoli Finzi on the board. I think although
so
she will...
So the story behind the scenes. I was supposed to be a panelist, but last Friday I was informed that I had to moderate the panel, so I will try just to be silent and to ask questions. But I'm very glad that I can see among the audience some young female colleagues. It's important that we share. We learn from experience, and we make it available to the new generation.
Exactly, yes.
In a nutshell.
Yes.
I think that this is the rationale of this panel.
Yes. And therefore, I'm so happy about the collaboration with Women in Aerospace. We will also sign an MOU today after this panel to make this a continuous thing and organize other panels and establish other activities, because there's still a few women in the aerospace field, or at least they are not visible enough. And the share of female students in at least in mechanical engineering and aerospace engineering is at a constantly, or more or less constant, low level. And so I think it's very important to raise the visibility of women who are already active in the field, and to therefore to have a larger number of female role models, because this attracts young people, young female, young women to do aerospace. And that's what we would like to see. And it's not only important to talk about DEI issues, but to talk about, to show who is already active in the field, to show the female experts in the field, to have a panel and talking on aerospace topics. So that's what we do today. And that's why I'm very happy to have all of you here. And I would like to ask all of you to introduce yourself briefly.
Yeah. Do you want to start with yourself?
Maybe that's a good point.
Yes.
Sorry for that. I'm Cornelia Hillenhams. I'm the president of SEAS. And I'm also, working at DLR, mainly as the managing editor of the aerospace, of the SEAS Aeronautical Journal.
And myself, Maria Antonietta Perino. I am in the board of Women in Aerospace Europe. Professionally, I've been in Thales Alenia Space for 40 years next year, and I'm director for space economy, and I care a lot about the new generation. I try to do my best to share. And Amalia, super briefly, who are you?
It is a pleasure for me to say that my destiny was to be the first one. The first one, was the first one that graduated in Italy in aeronautical engineering. The first one that gave the inaugural lecture for academic year starting. The academic year, 139th, because for 139 years was a man, was always men that started the academic year.
So you were the first one.
The first. I am the first one that an asteroid after me, Amalia, that is 89, 24, Amalia Finzi. I am the first year to be in Politecnico, to be, tetta si chiama, come si chiama? Non cavaliere, Grand Ufficiale. I am Grand Ufficiale of the Italian Republic. So, always the first one. And that means that time were not ready. Time were not ready because women were not a position in Politecnico, but also in society. Till now. I had the lucky to start in a very important university, that is Politecnico di Milano, and for that I had a strong preparation. That is my advantage. That because we need to have a big preparation, a strong preparation to report our self-confidence. It is a problem.
We let maybe her introduce herself.
Thank you, Amalia. Good morning, all. Thank you very much. Sias, Aida, for the kind invitation to stay here today. My name is Silvia Vela. I am the only non-engineer in this table, which is such a challenge. I'm a lawyer myself. I'm of counsel of a legal firm, ACT Legal, and I have my own firm as well, which is called Liger. I'm an aerospace lawyer with heart of scientific or engineer. So thank you, and I pass to Mariela.
Good morning. Good morning, everyone. First of all, to be here with a piece of history is always a pleasure, and it's a nice piece of human history. So it's not history. She's one of the most human people, and this is very important in those days. So thanks for sharing. I'm Mariela Graziano. I'm Italian, but I live in Spain already from 26 years. So I always say I was an aerospace engineer many years ago. Now it's more working on a strategic level for different fields, and mostly for flight segment related to space exploration, transportation, science, and planetary space safety. I'm also a member of the WIA board, sorry.
Hello, it's a pleasure to be here today. My name is Melike Nikbay. I'm a full professor of aerospace engineering at Istanbul Technical University, Faculty of Aeronautics and Astronautics. I got my undergraduate degree in mechanical engineering at Boğaziçi University, which is in Istanbul. And then I got my master's and PhD degree at University of Colorado Boulder in USA. I work in industry, in appliance manufacturing, and also defense and aviation industry for almost 4 years. And then I decided to pursue a full academic career, and I joined Istanbul Technical University in 2004. And since then, I have founded a research laboratory called Aerospace Multidisciplinary Design Optimization Laboratory. And we work on multidisciplinary design optimization of aeroelastic systems, aerodynamic systems, aeroacoustic systems, reliability-based design optimization, and machine learning and artificial intelligence assisting decision and design processes in aerospace systems. And I have been also a collaborator at NATO Science and Technology Organization, Applied Vehicle Technology Panel for the last 17 years. I have chaired committees on some technical committees like mechanical systems, structures, and materials. And also I chaired a support program on Applied Vehicle Technology Panel, which is fostering collaboration between NATO nations. So I think that's my background. So I'm very happy to be here today. Thank you.
So we start with some questions. We don't like to be formal, so our intention is really to speak from our hearts and to show you that it's possible to maintain a different type of leadership, not a male type, not aggressive, but very human-oriented type of leadership. So Amalia, my dear friend, I had the privilege to know you many, many years ago. We already discussed this point, but let me ask you, so that you can share with other people, how challenging, how difficult was for you to be the only lady in this very male-oriented type of domain?
Only lady, because when started a meeting like that, the speaker said, lady, and there was me, and gentlemen. Lady, I was the only one, just one. So, but I have to say that when I attended the course in Politecnico di Milano, I didn't find a gender problem, because the university is meritocratic. That means that if you are diligent, if you study, if you attend the course and so on, there is no problem. You are similar, equal to our other students. The problem was after. When you enter the world of research, science, or in the industry and so on, the difference, gender difference is important, because it is not a word meritocratic. In general, your career depends on the choices of your chip. That means that you are not promoted if you don't attend some compromise. Not moral compromise, but in general, society compromise. And that's why I had the good of chance, the opportunity to enter immediately in the field of space. Because when I was very young, 27 years, I had the opportunity to participate, to attend for an experiment that flew on un razzo sonda. A sound rocket. I was very young. My problem was to control the temperature of fluid immiscible. That means a fluid like water and oil that on the Earth separate, but in space don't separate. And so you can produce, especially composite with different materials that in space, in Earth, you can't do. And I did it, and it was like my first love, because you can't
forget the first love.
Absolutely. That means that I entered immediately in this world of space, and after that, what I did in particular was the Rosetta mission. That is a glory of Europe, because we was the third country that landed gentilmente, softly on a comet.
And you are the comet lady.
That's why I'm called the comet lady. Fantastic. I consider myself a lucky person.
Me too.
Yeah, thank you. And imagine I was the first woman to receive a PhD at the Institute in Aachen in 2003 still, so we are not that far. So, first question to you, Melike. What are currently the most exciting and promising areas of research and development in aerospace, and what challenges are associated with them?
I think we are in a very challenging and exciting area of aerospace engineering, because we have challenges, especially in sustainability, clean aviation. We had a seminar, I think, before us. We are trying to reach the targets of zero emission by 2050 in aerospace sector. So I think this is very challenging and exciting area because there is a lot of research ongoing and hydrogen fueled aircraft, hybrid propulsion system, hybrid systems using electric propulsion. I think there's a lot of design and there's a lot of optimization in this field, especially for aero propulsion area. And also the space sector is developing and emerging very fastly. We had an International Astronautical Congress recently in October in Sydney, Australia, and I was there, and it was amazing to see different areas of space sector, space propulsion, satellite systems, communication, deep space exploration. So I think there is a lot of, in this area, to develop, and there are a lot of challenges, I think. This is very exciting too, and missions to Moon, missions to Mars, private sector building a space station after the retirement of the International Space Station. So I think there's a lot of things to be explored in that area as well. And also there's lots of going on artificial intelligence, machine learning area, especially since it is interesting for me in design optimization. Implementing these technologies for robust design and reliable design of aerospace is also very challenging and exciting. There are lots of research going on additive manufacturing, advanced mobility systems, extreme materials. So I think we are in such a challenging and exciting area of aerospace and engineering. And what kind of skills do our students need? I think they have to have very good fundamental foundations in our main disciplines like structures, fluid mechanics, aerospace, propulsion, controls, materials. And on top of that, they have to build some interdisciplinary, multidisciplinary skills where teams can work together to develop complex aerospace systems. And of course, they have to learn how to use artificial intelligence, using artificial intelligence with design purposes, with manufacturing, with planning. So I think this is also a broad challenge and also capability for them. And also they have to build some personal skills, I think, communication, networking, working together, collaboration. I think these are very important personal skills which will help them to develop their engineering careers and also contribute to humanity in a significant way in such a challenging time, I think.
I totally share what you just mentioned. I think that it's not only a matter of evolving from a technological point of view. Mariella, I think that space is also evolving from, how can I say, the type of key players that are becoming the new actors. When we started, you and me, the only client we had was the space agency. Could have been the National Space Agency or ESA. In some cases, Italy works a lot in bilateral programs directly with NASA. The clients are new ones now. How is evolving the space sector from a commercial point of view? Who are the key players?
So, I mean, as Maria Antonietta, thanks Maria Antonietta. As Maria Antonietta said, it's completely different from when we started. We know each other from almost 30 years, and it was completely different. Because one of the now it's happening what is normally called democratization of space, meaning, as Maria Antonietta was saying, when we started, everything was institutional, very governmental, binded, space agency, national agencies, but not real. So a few years ago, this started changing with it's also due to technological advances for
said.
militarization, AI coming in, cost off-the-shelf elements, reduction of launch costs. So many things going on, and this has opened the possibility of having a more commercial space. In my personal opinion, there is a little bit of confusion sometimes because we try to put together all the things in the same box, which is a big mistake. Especially now, we can also see that there is a new entry in the last 2 years, unfortunately, due to the geopolitical situation, also defense stuff. So I'm always advocating to, especially to people that are working in this from many years, to make serious and strategic reflection on those elements. So there are big players like LSI, what is called normally larger system integrator, like Alenia, Airbus, OHB. Then there are mid-caps like the company where I'm working, which is GMV, and then lots of smaller startup or small and medium enterprises.
And do you think that these newcomers have the possibility to enter the game,
I thought,
to contribute to the puzzle?
I thought till some years ago, you're entering in a...
I know you. The answers are not prepared, so we are really speaking truly.
The problem here is there is a bunch of no politically correct persons. We need to be a little bit careful. So till some years ago, yes, now because of this defense stuff coming in is getting a little bit more complex. I think it's important that all the players are there. I think it's important that there are strategic a reflection on what needs to be civil, what needs to be dual, what needs to be commercial, and what needs to be institutional or defense driven.
The point is that the new generations, they are offered the possibility to contribute to the big picture.
They are offered, but we need also to be very careful because there is a different generation are very very different from us. They are different in their mindset. They are different also in their moral ethics. So we need to be very careful on the way we sell those things. And also our role is always educating those people. For instance, when I mean...
our child.
Pardon?
Our children.
Our children, but also our young... there are people leaving the space world because of this connection with military. So we need to be very careful because young people at the moment are really, they see the work in a different way than us, and they want to work for passion and for living, but it's not their life. It's a completely different.
Yeah, there is a more balance.
Yeah, exactly. So
between personal life and professional life.
And also the language I use.
And this is good.
The language that we use sometimes, especially for young people. One thing is that geopolitical situation is tough, and it is, so there are certain things that shall be said. But for instance, I'm completely against some languages saying that, for instance, by industry, that this situation is an opportunity. Bad geopolitical situations are never an opportunity. A different story is that we need to do something. But calling this opportunity for me is a mistake.
No, yes, the opportunity to contribute to the overall architecture
this is a
in that
story,
sense.
But economical opportunity is a different
We need to moderate, otherwise this is too late this day. We continue for... Yeah, this is already a difference. When women start a discussion, we like to speak.
Yeah, thank you. You already mentioned the dual use and the defense sector. And regarding the increasing use of drones, Sylvia, what new business models and what challenges do you see from your perspective?
Thank you for the question. Yes, I'm not going to speak about the space. I'm going to speak about aviation and drones. And it's important to understand that drones is not a futuristic concept. It's something we have already now here. And talking about different business models, I want to give you some examples. For example, let's start with logistics. In logistics, we have many companies already doing things, not only in USA or far away. In Europe, we have MANA. I don't know if you know this Irish company. They have already delivered 160,000 drone deliverings in Ireland, mainly meals and groceries in a fantastic time, much faster than with a motorcycle or any other way. In Spain, we have this company, Pyrenees Drone, which is able to deliver with drones in the middle of the mountains and to the farmers, and does in a regular way. It's not like a pilot thing, it's a regular way. And I've seen that in Italy you have already some other pilots. Amazon Prime Air is doing some pilots in Abruzzo. Is that well said? Abruzzo? Good. And Urban V is working on creating vertiport hubs to integrate drones and eVTOLs into urban logistics. So logistics is a big one. I can speak as well about agriculture. They are embracing drones for precision farming. So they optimize resources, reduce waste, and they're improving yields. We have infrastructures where, for example, we have drones that inspect power lines or power towers, making tasks, reducing costs and risks, because normally those kind of tasks were made by helicopters before, which they are more cost. Emergency responses is another area where drones are making a real difference, not only with delivering medical supplies, but as well with firefighting management. There's a European project called Fire Dragon, which combines long-range drones with AI to map fires in real time, day and night. And of course, I cannot forget defense. Like you were saying, and Mariela said too, Italy is investing heavily in defense. One example is the Michelangelo Dome. I don't know if you know about it. You know, an integrated defense system designed to detect and neutralize multiple threats, drones, missiles, even cyber attacks. So as you see, we are not talking only about the future, but we have real examples now. And of course, these opportunities come with challenges. Regulation is the big one. Rules for BVLOS, for example, operations are still fragmented across the countries, and that creates uncertainty and slows innovation. But also we have privacy, cybersecurity, we have liability, and of course public acceptance, because we need to, get used to have those things flying around and accept it. And well, let's say that to unlock the full potential of drones, we need to collaborate. We need collaboration between the institutions, the regulations, the industry, and the legal experts as well. I think we have a unique opportunity to lead in Europe by harmonizing all the legislation, but we need to keep safety and privacy in the core of all this movement.
Thank you.
I don't know if I can do that, but before I start with the second round, is there any of you that really wants to take this opportunity and to ask a question to any of us? Or make a point? No. No, nessuno. Amalia is saying no. Okay, then I ask Amalia a piece of advice. What would you like, the last message that you want to share with the new generation that is very important for all of us?
I am optimistic. I'm sure that the future will be better, that this society, today's society, and so especially that the younger generation can do the best. Because we have a lot of very good programs. For instance, Argonaut, Artemis, it is fantastic, no? And, but especially new countries are entering the space world. And that means new inspiration, but especially new capacity. So I am sure that the future will be better. I am sure because our young generation are spectacular. They are very, they are able to change the future. And that means I'm sure that it will be.
So yeah, Melike, maybe something to add to what do we need in terms of education and what can you advise to the young people today?
I think curiosity is what drives the research and innovation. So I would advise our young people to go after their curiosity. And also perseverance, because you will have some obstacles. You will have some resistance from groups or people or from the system. So please do not give up. So go after your dreams, your ideals, and your projects. And the last thing that maybe I should recommend is collaboration. Please do not be afraid of collaboration. Collaboration is what we need within your teams, national or international. Because what we are facing as new projects or new challenges are huge. So you cannot do everything by yourself. So you should collaborate. You should make use of other people's capabilities, their knowledge, their skills. So this is how we can build and how we can successfully achieve our very large goals in the future. So, thanks.
Mariella, what can we do with our example to, how can I say, prepare for a more inclusive type of professional environment?
I mean, you said the word example. I mean, I don't think words can convince anyone. Life can convince people. For me, she has been always an inspiration. I'm going to steal one of her best theory, which is the three metals. You know what is important in life? Is the three metal theory, which is iron, health, steel, nerves, and golden husband or golden. And she was something that she was always saying. And it's true. I mean, despite everything, we are humans and we need to work for what is good for us. And normally is what we love, the passion, and this is not only with people, but also with the work we are doing. Something also important, if I'm in those forums normally, is for one reason, is mostly because in many, there is a big attempt and big pressure on young generation, especially women, in making us that. Mm-hmm. I mean, we can try to do what we want to do, always. We all have a story. You know, I have a fantastic family, but they are no one in the world, far from the space world, so it's possible. Of course, there are compromises to be done, and there are not compromises, there are choices to be done. Mm-hmm. Those choices are completely different in your life, so the question is really the key, is the example, to tell about our lives, to be serious with what we have in front of us, and not more than this. And also, try not to be too politically correct.
You're speaking to yourself now, eh?
Yes, and maybe Sylvia, from your point of view, what's your advice or your recommendation to the young generation, also in terms of diversity, inclusion, and so on?
Okay, I would give you 2 tips. First, look for a mentor. I think that's very important to develop yourself, not only in a professional way, but also in a personal way. So if you are young, please look for a mentor. It doesn't need to be a formal mentor, but you have to look up, try to find someone, but doesn't matter, man or woman, that inspires you, and ask her in a humble way if they could mentor you. And I think it'll be it'll be important. And if it happens that you are not young and you are old and experienced, be generous and be a mentor as well. Try to mentorize younger people. Try to help younger people to, to grow, because diversity is a plus and is a strength for organizations and companies. And sometimes you see people different, and that enriches you so much, and they give you much more than you can give them. So that's my point.
Thank you so much. I think we've heard 4 different but really inspiring messages to everybody, especially to the young generation. And even I feel very inspired myself, and I cannot add any more. And I thank you very much for being here, for participating in this panel. And I think you have given a lot to everybody
and thank
here.
You for listening.
Thank you for listening.
We're not that many, but spread the voice.
Yes.
In your environment. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Yes, both of us will now sign the Memorandum of Understanding between CS and the Women in Aerospace Europe. So we would like to ask the photographer to be there and maybe take some nice pictures. And yeah, thank you very much. Yeah, or at the table maybe. We'll see. So thank you, and enjoy the conference, the lunch break, and feel free to use the opportunity of the fantastic women we have here to ask them other questions.
Spengo monitor e tutto.